Hi, I'm Benny the Jet Yukitis, and what I'd like to talk about is I had a question asked me, well, how do you hold focus, and how do and you know what, it's about I see a lot of trainers sometimes, they're actually working with focus, and they're actually slapping the gloves because again, remember, most of the injuries happening in the gym with beginners, and no matter what kind of weight, okay, they're carrying. If they're lightweights, they're not hitting as hard. I mean, let me tell you, I've seen some lightweights hit very hard, but you know, beginners always hit hard. Whether you're a lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, you're always hitting hard the focus. And for the trainers and the coaches that are actually holding, and for the ones that actually meet, if you're one that actually slaps the gloves, hey, just remember one thing. Every time you slap it, sometimes your timing's off, especially with a beginner, and their timing's off. You're slapping the wrist or the knuckles downward. So it's a lot of maybe when you're young you're not feeling it, but later on you will feel it. Your fingers will go numb from hitting the gloves downward. So your wrist actually bends every time you hit the focus hitting downward. You're bending the wrist downward. So timing as you get older, okay, and you get more experience, okay, so you start hitting with nice timing, and so the trainers that really know how to work focus, they don't hit the gloves downward. They actually meet it. They meet the movement no matter what. They meet the gloves, all right. And sometimes people like the sound of hitting the mitts, pow, 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 pow. But again, at the same time, hitting the sound of it, you're actually hitting it to where you're making the wrist bend in it. Even though you got strong wrist, your wrists are bending from the slap and the sound of it. And you can make the same sound. If you want to hear the sound, get a kicking shield. A kicking shield does this, and it makes a really nice sound, and it's not heavy, so you're not actually injuring the wrist or slapping it downward. So you can get the same sound. If you're the one that likes to hear sound, use a kicking mitt. Hey, first of all. Hey, second of all, hey, working with heavyweights. If you're one that's using the mitts and working with heavyweights, just remember, the mitts are not made to hit hard. You want to hit hard, hit a heavy bag, hit a 200-pound bag. Don't hit the mitts like you're hitting a heavy bag, because the mitts are working for timing and rhythm and technique. It's not meant to be hitting hard. They're meant to be working technique and rhythm. So just remember one thing. It's not how hard you hit, it's how right you hit. And that's the key to the focus, is learning how. Okay, and the ones that are holding it, remember, don't slap the wrist. What you're going to do is meet it, so that way when you're using your shoulders, you're catching it, you can make the same technique and movement. But if you're one that's slapping it, just remember, sometimes slapping that, you're slapping the wrist downward, so when they're hitting, hey, you're working on bending that wrist there. So that's your choice. Just food for thought, something for you to think about. All right? So with that being said, have a nice workout.